Trevor Rawnsley, the man, the myth, the legend. Thanks for joining us today. How's your day been?
It's been very well, thanks, Alex. Always good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Trevor, we've got a long history. For the benefit of people new to Trevor Rawnsley, who won't be many, tell us about your history in the management rights industry.
Early 2000s, I heard about management rights. Looked really good on paper. Probably took me about 3 years to do my own personal due diligence on the industry and eventually take the commitment to cash everything up, move my family to the Gold Coast, bought my first management rights business. Was there for about 4 years, did really well. Doubled, when I sold, I doubled the purchase price, tripled the net value, had a really good experience. Took about a year out while I decided what I was going to do, and then bought another management rights business in 6 or 7. And that was a high-rise complex in the middle of Surfers Paradise. Hard work, long weekends, schoolies, which is very energetic and uplifting, but hard work. Before I could buy a third one, so sold that, did okay, and wanted to move into a different part of management rights, which is a gated community in the suburbs. And before I could take on that third adventure, I took on a role of CEO of ARAMA for 2 years. That was my plan, Alex.
And the rest is history.
15 years ago, yeah. So I'm 15 years into a 2-year plan.
And your role at ARAMA, you're obviously a big advocate for the industry. And I guess your understanding of that started from being a manager. Tell everyone what, in your opinion, signals a good quality manager? What makes someone a good manager?
Yeah. Look, it's not that hard, Alex. It is complicated because there's lots of rules and regulations around it. But when you understand the fundamentals, it's a customer service delivery model, particularly the caretaking side. If you're involved in the letting, it's very, pretty easy to do. You just get all your ducks in a row and away you go. But it's the realisation. So the secret to success in this industry is understanding it's a service delivery role, you're a service provider, and you need to get on with people. If you don't like working with people, it's probably not the gig for you.
So with that in mind, for lot owners living with management rights schemes, what are the benefits for those lot owners in having a management rights structure over it compared to the alternative?
Yeah, I feel sorry for those schemes that don't have a residential management business or an on-site management business, because management rights delivers better services, so more services at a much more efficient level, because you're concentrating essentially on that one scheme. It may be several in a small portfolio, but there's a on-site management component that dedicates the letting and the facility management or the building management in that one scheme. And there are tried and proven pieces of information, some of which is supplied by ResortBrokers, that can demonstrate the value and can prove that without managed rights, lot owners would pay more for these services and get less services.
So touching on that, the research piece, obviously ResortBrokers has opened up its research department for the last few years. We've first management rights report 2022, 4th edition comes out in a few weeks. Your invite for the breakfast will be through shortly. We look forward to seeing you there. An important piece of work, in your opinion?
Yeah, Alex, good question. You know the answer to this question. Absolutely vital. The work that ResortBrokers do for this industry should not be understated. You're the market leader, and ResortBrokers directors, including yourself, have taken that leadership role to the next level. And a good example of that is the amount of time and money you invest in quantitative and qualitative research, which the industry relies on. It gives us a story to tell.
So could you give us, so just in your day-to-day role as the CEO of ARAMA, how has that management rights support been useful?
Okay, so look, I've got a fancy title, but I'm essentially the chief spruiker for the management rights industry. And a spruiker needs something to spruik about. So the ResortBrokers research documents, particularly the first one that came out, gave me a story to tell that said unit owners like management rights, because when they're asked, they vote yes to extend or top up or renew or vary on over 85% of occasions. And I wouldn't have known, and the industry wouldn't have known that statistic if it weren't for ResortBrokers management rights report. That's just one thing.
Were you surprised with the stats on the scale of the industry? how big it is?
Yeah, it's very surprised. I'm thinking back now 4 years. There was quite a lot of information in there that was a surprise to me because we have a hunch, and the thing about management rights is because it's a niche industry which couples together real estate and facility management, there isn't one single repository of knowledge. You can't just go to Land Titles Office and find out the number of management rights businesses. So a lot of that information is anecdotal. So to have an independent external organisation that looks at the entire industry without a particular agenda, just knowledge, is gold, like gold to the industry, because it gives us credibility when we talk about the size of the industry, and therefore if the lawmakers do something which is likely to injure the industry, we have a story to tell about what that economic injury might cause to the economy.
So having that report there is important for your role as an advocate for the industry.
Yeah, I do. I rely on it.
Yeah. Tell me, Trevor, being in the industry for 26 years, what are the major changes you've seen in it over that? It's developed, right? It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, look, once upon a time, it was there were unlimited agreements, unlimited term agreements. When I was looking in the market, I even almost went to contract on a 50-year term agreement. So now, but funny enough, Alex, in the early 2000s, the majority of schemes were on 3-year agreements. So, it kind of, we've got used to in Queensland the 10 or 25 and elsewhere the 10. But the main thing that has really changed is the sophistication of the industry. When I came in, there were no corporate entities. It was all mum and dads. And now there's that move towards the collection of syndicates, corporatisation, large organisations, international hoteliers like Accor, Minor Group and others that are collecting large portfolios of very valuable schemes with large letting pools and large very sophisticated facilities to manage. So, the first building I bought was a 2-storey walk-up on the beach at Mermaid Beach.
That's lovely.
I didn't realise how good I had it. Mowing the lawn was the biggest challenge each day and not staring at the surf. So, and now we get to a stage where everything in the world is more complicated, particularly since COVID, and people are less friendly. So it has, management rights has evolved to become a very reliable business model, very robust. I've heard the term recession-proof. That's a bit arrogant, I think, but it's survived COVID. In fact, not only survived COVID, it blossomed as a result of COVID. The multipliers were greater as a result of COVID, and I can't think of another industry, apart from maybe the pharmaceutical industry, that did so well and was resilient through that COVID period and continues to grow. And that's a fascinating part about this industry that a lot of people don't understand.
Absolutely, it is truly a resilient industry. Where do you see the industry going over the next 5 years? Do you your crystal ball? Do you see any developments in the near future?
I can't make a prediction over the next 5 years. If you had have asked me 20 years ago, would I be doing this job? No, the answer is no. I would be operating. I'd prefer to be an operator. So I still think operation is the key, and the key components of operation is the customer service delivery model. I don't think that's really going to change. What we are going to see as a result of the housing crisis is that pressure that the purchase of real estate is causing on the business model, the profitability or the return on investment. So it's already happening. There's some shaking between the real estate and the business. Once upon a time, we used to criticise sales brokers for selling the dream, and no hours, easy, perfect lifestyle. Now we criticise the brokers for selling the business component. Okay, so you're always going to get criticised. But the important thing, which is a joke, by the way, because the industry wouldn't survive without sales brokers. But the important thing to remember is I think the fundamentals of management rights are on-site management, delivering service to understanding their client is the lot owner, whether they're in the letting pool or not, doesn't matter. And I don't think those fundamentals are going to change. If we stick with that, we'll continue to succeed, continue to grow.
You touched on tenure. Previously, you mentioned agreements there were some agreements that were 3 to 5 years. Obviously, we've had some fabulous legislation that came through 97, giving 10-year, 25-year agreements. What's the, and seemingly from what you said, I think that's the point that the industry's grown and become more professional. What's the importance of tenure in regards to quality of management?
Okay, so a valuer taught me a long time ago that certainty equals value. So in this business, having some long-term commitment from the body corporate to the management team and from the management team to the body corporate brings some interdependence. Somebody's got to look after the long-term needs of the scheme. Owners come and go, body corporate managers come and go. The business of management rights really should not have any term at all, should be just indefinite. And the only thing that happens maybe every 5 years, so this might be the future of management rights, every 5 years there's a review, market review on duties and remuneration, but the term of the agreement just keeps rolling over indefinitely until a scheme terminates. Because there's many schemes, particularly new schemes, that just can't exist without on-site management and on-site letting.
It seems like one of the fundamentals of good management is having foresight into the future, planning, continuity. You can't get that with a 3 or 5 year agreement, can you?
Well, you're certainly not going to give the commitment. What will happen is in other states where management rights isn't as popular and isn't as understood, is you get a lot of transient service providers come and go. If things are a little bit too rough for them, they go and they'll just try and gouge their fees from someone else. There's performance and reward for performance in management rights. And I've been there, so I know what it's like. I can't get a top up, I can't get a variation, I can't get a remuneration increase unless I perform. And then it's a democracy. I rely on the will of the people, the unit owners, to vote yes. So that sounds really scary, but if you do your job and you be seen to do your job, then your customers are going to want to reward you. And that's a natural part of reward and recognition in any business. So I'm not daunted by length of agreements. I think they're just a given. But what I really like, and I think the fabric of management rights, which is different to outside facility management or big box real estate agents, is a commitment in that scheme for the long-term benefit of the owners of that scheme. The owners might change, but there'll be owners and there'll be the scheme, and these things need to be looked after for the long term, not just a 12-month or 3-year term.
Trevor, I know you've got some good contacts in government. I think at the moment, from what I understand, the industry is well supported at a government level in Queensland. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'm privileged that I get to represent an industry that's honest and truthful, and so therefore my advocacy is exactly that. We don't get everything we want, but there are some fundamental things that I need to defend and protect on behalf of the industry. And so, yeah, we do have a good relationship with government of all persuasions, but we do that because we're honest. You won't see us go to press and bag the government, even if we don't agree with them. We'll talk about it privately. We'll put submissions in which are well considered and not just biased in our favour. We get invited, ARAMA gets invited onto a lot of panels. You and I have been advocating to the Queensland government, and we're currently advocating to the New South Wales government together. We're invited to do that because the policymakers within government trust us and respect our view. That trust takes a long time to build. It can be gone in an instant. And
I think ResortBrokers and ARAMA, I mean, me personally, I've had the privilege of working with ARAMA on a number of, I suppose, advocacy efforts in recent years. And, I agree, it's getting in front of government and explaining what the industry is and educating, that's quite often enough, isn't it?
Look, it is. It's explaining. That's why I said spruiking. And it's not about playing a politician. In fact, in many cases, it's not really the politician makes a decision, or the politician's decision is made based on the advice of the departmental staff. So we engage very closely with the departmental staff. They're in a closeted environment. We are in industry, so naturally they would benefit, government would benefit from engaging with industry. And we give them insight into how industry works and the unintended consequences of making bad laws. So they look to an organisation like ARAMA, an industry body like ARAMA, who is trusted and has stood the test of time. We've been going for over 30 years. We've been advocating for over 30 years. I'm more of a recent addition. I've only been at it for 15 years. But they trust us, and so when we make a statement about something, it's truthful. And this is why the work that resort brokers deliver to industry is like gold. I've said it before, because it's truth. It helps to validate our hunches, and it helps us tell a better story, which protects and defends the industry.
Trevor, as we've touched on, the industry is becoming more sophisticated, possibly more corporatized at the upper end of the market. Does that bring any advantages to the model and to the people who are supposed to benefit, the lot owners?
It certainly gives us a better story to tell. To have, just to name a couple, I've mentioned it before, Accor and Oaks, to be able to explain to government policymakers that when you stay in a Peppers, you're more than likely staying in a management rights building, and they can identify with that. You then explain what reception looks like, and that's a business that's owned by Accor. They own the rights, not necessarily to all the real estate, but to that business. And that helps then to descale that down to the more independent businesses, of which is the vast majority of operators are independent small businesses. So it's good to be able to link the corporate type model that's more identifiable, and then link that to the independent model where we've got thousands of small family businesses who are doing a great job.
Yeah. Trevor, it's a very diverse industry. There's very diverse people in it. What excites you on a day-to-day basis? You've been doing this for 26 years. What gets you out of bed every day?
Look, I still yearn to be an operator. It's a bunch of fun. Whether you're operating in a short stay, holiday complex or in a long-term complex, I like the cut and thrust of customer service, and I've built lifelong friendships with unit owners and guests still in a scheme I had on the Gold Coast from early 2000s. They still call me when they come up to the Gold Coast for holidays. So, sorry, that's not the only reason. You might know some people. Yeah. So I actually, the operation is a bunch of fun, and you should have fun. If you're going to invest a lot of money and a lot of time, and you want to be successful, then you want to be successful on your terms in an enjoyable crusade. So, if I had my wish, I'd be operating. But I also understand that the industry needs a good advocate who understands. So I'm quite privileged that I've been an operator. So when I talk to government and other associations, it's very rare for an advocate like me to actually have been in the business. So again, I think ARAMA's fortunate, but I'm fortunate that I've found an industry that's just suited my personality and my style. I like it. I enjoy it.
There's a lot of collaboration within the industry, aren't there? I mean, yeah. It feels like being part of a community.
You're right. I've been involved in the retail industry and the fast food industry, and it's dog eat dog. If you're in a meeting with Hungry Jack's, McDonald's, it's not a pleasant outcome. It astounds me when I go to meetings and go to events and you see two different organisations or people who otherwise would be direct competitors helping each other. I don't know of any other industry that's so collaborative as management rights.
Trevor, further to the previous question, yes. Obviously asking about advice, where you point newcomers to the industry. Once people have bought that first, taken that lunge and they're in that first business, what advice would you give them to make the next 3 or 4 years of their life as fun and pain-free, as fun and stress-free as possible?
Okay, so the first thing is, a lesson I learned many years ago is the day I buy a management rights building is the day I think about selling. So I discovered very quickly that the profit is made from the capital gain. Sure, there's cash flow, there's remuneration that covers your debts, but buy right, sell right. So in order to buy right, you need to be surrounded by experts. I talked about a good brokerage firm like ResortBrokers, and they can surround you with a special team of advisors to help you, and so can ARAMA. So being connected to specialists in the industry like ResortBrokers, staying connected to ARAMA, learning. Okay, so there are some transferable skills. It's not that hard, but there are also some peculiar things that you need to know. It's 107 pieces of legislation that our operators are meant to be aware of. So, continual thirst for learning is a great thing. And I see over the last 15, 20 years, I see the same people coming to our events every time. And I think, well, aren't you done? Aren't you done learning? And it's like, nope. And so they inspire me to keep bringing out new and innovative education.
Trevor, thank you so much for joining us today. We know how busy you are. Thank you for all your valuable work with ARAMA. The industry tips their hat to you. we wouldn't survive without you. Thank you so much.